The aliens declared war at 0600 hours. By 0605, Earth's diplomats had offered coffee, smiled politely, and marked every enemy sun for detonation. We really hate being interrupted during breakfast. They declared war at 0600 hours. By 0605, Earth's diplomats had offered coffee, smiled politely, and marked every enemy sun for detonation. We really hate being interrupted during breakfast. The war summit smelled like ammonia, burned ozone, and arrogance. Captain Eva Riker stood at the center of the Galactic Council's Grand Convocation Hall, surrounded by 24 alien delegates, scaled, furred, feathered, translucent. All eyes on her. She adjusted the lapel of her tailored blue jacket and flashed the same smile she used during hostage negotiations and wedding speeches. Warm, disarming. The kind that made people drop their guard. At her side, a glass mug of steaming coffee. Colombian roast. Black. No sugar. She never trusted anything that needed sweetening to be tolerable. Ambassador Groke of the Threx Dominion stepped forward, his taloned feet clicking on the crystal floor. 10 feet tall, armored in ceremonial boneplate, and with a voice like crushed gravel. "You are outnumbered, human," he growled. "Outgunned. Outclassed. And still you speak as if you stand atop the galaxy." Eva took a casual sip. "I'm not standing on the galaxy, Ambassador. Just your ego. It's much easier to reach." There was a moment of stunned silence. A few of the younger diplomats, smaller species and used to Terran sarcasm, whispered translations to each other. One of them, a gelatinous cube named Velzun, rippled green. Nervous laughter. Groke's upper mandibles twitched. "The Threx Dominion declares total war against Earth. No terms. No mercy. We will leave your blue rock sterilized." Eva tilted her head slightly, as if processing a minor scheduling conflict. She pulled out a slim data pad, tapped a few lines, then nodded. "Well, that's awkward. I just paid off my mortgage." A whisper of static buzzed in her ear. The encrypted comm line linked back to Earth Command. // confirmation received. Level 8 protocol initiated. Obsidian reach is active. // She didn't flinch. Instead, she turned to the gathered council. "Let the record show," she said, her voice light but steady, "that Earth received an unprovoked declaration of war at precisely 0600 hours, Terran Standard. That we acknowledged it calmly, courteously, and this is key, while fully caffeinated." Groke snarled. "You mock the Council. This will be your extinction." "No, Ambassador," she said. "This will be your education." She handed her mug to the wide-eyed translator squid beside her, who promptly dropped it. The mug clinked on the floor and rolled. Eva stepped closer to Groke, lowering her voice so only he could hear. "You think declaring war on Earth is the end of something. It's not. It's the beginning of a list." He leaned back. Something flickered behind his glare, doubt. 90 minutes earlier, Earth Command. "Do you have to be so smug about it?" General Wren's voice crackled through the command table's interface. His hologram flickered as orbital interference warped the feed. Eva adjusted her cuffs. "It's not smug if you're right. You're walking into a hornet's nest. Their fleet is 20 times ours. And?" The general exhaled hard. "Don't escalate." "I'm not," she said. "They are. I'm just giving them rope. And if they hang themselves? Then we never had to raise our voice." She cut the channel. Present, council floor. Eva returned to her central podium. The council clerk, a creature composed entirely of energy and impatience, chimed for order. "The war declaration stands," it said in a chorus of harmonics. "Do Terrans offer counterterms?" Eva smiled politely. "Just a question." The clerk pulsed purple. "Proceed." "How attached?" Eva asked, slowly and clearly. "Are you to your stars?" Silence. Delegates looked around, confused. Stars? Surely she meant planets. But Groke froze. His lower hand clenched. He was not a stupid creature, violent, yes, arrogant certainly, but not stupid. What have you done? He said low. Eva didn't answer. She didn't need to. Above them, the Council's panoramic viewport revealed the arm of the galaxy stretching across space, brilliant pinpoints of light burning in the infinite dark. 3 of those lights blinked out. Not went dark. Blink. Gone. Groke's translator choked on static. The insected Confederacy's envoy dropped her data cluster. A dozen species rose from their seats. Someone screamed. Eva didn't move. She let them panic. She'd learned long ago that silence was louder than shouting. You asked for war, she said, voice quiet. And we gave you peace for a century. We shared tech. Traded fairly. Learned your languages. We hosted galactic festivals. We sent you chocolate. And still, you wanted our submission. She stepped down from the podium, boots echoing. We don't do submission. Another star blinked out. The clerk's voice cracked. This is genocide. Eva turned back once. No. Genocide is emotional. This is logistics. Back aboard her ship, the TSV Indignant, Eva sat alone, lights dimmed, watching the stream of panicked broadcasts flood in. Entire empires scrambling. Emergency councils forming. Armies withdrawing. She watched it all unfold while finishing the coffee Groke's translator had failed to hold. Commander Leto entered. Confirmation from Deep Reach. All devices calibrated. Obsidian Reach is operational across sectors Alpha through Delta. Good. Eva stood. Send a message to their high command. What message? She smiled faintly. Earth acknowledges the declaration of war. Casualties minimal. Galactic correction underway. Kindly remain in orbit while your turn approaches. He hesitated. And after that? After that, Eva said, eyes cold. We blacklist the survivors from sunlight. The first fleet vanished over Mars. Not destroyed. Not even resisted. Simply gone. Sensors blinked off. No wreckage, no debris. Just silence where 30 Threx capital ships had once hovered, proud and loud, within spitting distance of Earth's solar guard net. From his command ship orbiting Saturn, Subcommander Relin watched the static bloom on his tactical display like frost spreading across glass. His second officer, a younger Threx with nervously twitching eye stalks, swallowed hard. They're gone, sir. All of them. Relin leaned forward, claws tense against the railing. That's not possible. No plasma trails, no gravity wakes, no residual neutrinos? What the void happened to them? We don't know, sir. It's like they were erased. He turned to the comms officer. Contact High Command. The comms officer shook his head. Channels are jammed. Every frequency. Even civilian. The lights on the bridge flickered once, then steadied. Then the music started. Soft. Cheerful. Familiar. Human jazz. Relin's voice cracked. What in the dark is that? The AI interface flickered on screen. A human face, stylized, expressionless, smiled politely. Thank you for calling Earth Defense. Your conquest attempt is very important to us. All of our planets are currently busy. Please hold. Elevator jazz resumed. Across the fleet, Threx soldiers screamed into comms that no longer responded. Half a system away, back on Earth, Eva Riker stood in the underground chamber of Project Obsidian's control wing. The room hummed, silent to most ears, but alive with directed energy, computation, and intention. Commander Leto followed her in. Fleet down. Zero contact. They're jamming everything. Not jamming, Eva said. Mirroring. Feeding their own data back to them until they can't tell up from down. He raised a brow. No casualties? Not from us. She approached a translucent wall where three-dimensional maps floated, lighting her features with the cool blue of collapsing empires. How long until they figure it out? Leto asked. They won't, she said. They're built for blunt force. Strategy's not in their evolutionary script. When the terrain shifts, they panic. She pointed at the blinking red indicators on the far end of the map. Next wave's rerouting. They think it's a flanking move. We'll let them come in. Leto studied her. You're awfully calm. I'm always calm. That's the warning. On Threx Prime, the High Council devolved into screaming. Screens flickered. Data scrambled. Systems collapsed under the weight of coordinated misinformation, each false report laced with just enough truth to seem credible. Groke stood in the center of it all, face tight, claws clenched. This isn't war. This is theft. They're stealing the battlefield from under our feet. We have fleets, snapped one of the elder strategists. We have hundreds. No, Groke said. We had hundreds. Now we have questions. Another aide burst in, breathless. Sir! They've activated the belt. What belt? Groke turned, confused. Ours, the outer perimeter. They've taken the code. Rewired our own satellites. A pause. They're using our own defense grid to trap our fleets in. Silence fell like ash. One of the old counselors whispered. We underestimated them. No, Groke growled. We mistook their restraint for weakness. Aboard the TSV Indignant, Eva met with her team. Officers. Strategists. Engineers. All sitting calmly, reviewing projections as if discussing weather patterns. Any word from the council? Eva asked. One officer nodded. They've sent a diplomatic probe. Claims they're concerned about planetary integrity. Eva smirked. That's the alien equivalent of asking us to stop hitting ourselves. They're not asking for surrender? No, she said. They're asking for time. We won't give it. She moved to the center of the table, where a single red switch glowed softly. Let's escalate. Leto leaned in. They'll break. They already are. This is just... She considered the word. Clarity. Far beyond Earth, on the edge of Terran space, a Threx scout vessel found something it shouldn't have. An abandoned Terran outpost floating in the shadow of a dead moon. Cold. Silent. They docked cautiously. No response. No movement. Inside, they found a table still set. 2 chairs. 1 coffee cup still warm. And a note, written in perfect Threx glyphs. You're late. Behind them, the outpost's internal AI spoke up. Self-destruct in 10. 9. The scout ship never made it back. On Earth, Eva walked through the halls of Obsidian Command, past rows of sleeping war machines. Silent, sleek, and not yet needed. She paused at a viewing screen displaying dozens of alien systems, each glowing faintly. We haven't fired a shot, Leto said behind her. That's the point. We're winning a war without war. We're teaching them to be afraid of the idea of war with us. She tapped the glass gently. They'll start telling stories after this. About how we smiled when the stars began to vanish. How we offered coffee before turning their suns cold. How Earth doesn't conquer, it corrects. Leto folded his arms. You think they'll learn? Doesn't matter, she said. The galaxy doesn't need to learn. It just needs to remember. At that moment, 6 more enemy systems went dark. Suns turned off like flick switches. The galaxy trembled. And Earth didn't say a word. The prison ship Igral's Mercy drifted in low orbit over the cracked surface of Varian 5, an inhospitable moon used exclusively for enemy containment. The Threx Dominion had retrofitted it for human prisoners. Dozens of reinforced cells, surveillance drones, and AI security protocols calibrated to Terran unpredictability. 3 days after the first human was captured, the guards started requesting reassignment. By day 5, no one volunteered to go near Cell 17. Inside, Lieutenant Jules Herrera sat cross-legged on the floor, humming to herself. She was carving a spoon out of her metal bunk frame with a sharpened screw, smiling like she was whittling on a porch back home in Colorado. Outside her cell, 2 guards whispered. She's not eating. She is. Just not the food we give her. She told the cook she's fasting for religious reasons. Humans don't have one religion. That's what makes it creepy. The security drone hovering nearby buzzed a warning. Lieutenant Herrera looked up, deadpan. You know this entire ship's security AI is running a 2002 version of Linux patched with alien code that doesn't understand recursion, right? The drone stuttered midair. She grinned. Didn't think so. Aboard the TSV Indignant, Eva Riker reviewed the latest intelligence with a sip of warm tea. She had long since switched from coffee, too predictable. Tea made aliens nervous. No one trusted a species that relaxed before winning. They've begun relocating their command centers to mobile structures, Commander Leto reported. They're calling it strategic fluidity. Eva raised a brow. Or panic in motion. Their propaganda nets are failing. Citizens are starting to doubt the Dominion's story. As they should. Half their own sons are blinking out, and no one knows why. She slid a datapad across the table. Let's accelerate the whispers. Leto scanned the file. A forged internal memo? Leaked. Authenticated. It proves that Grok had intel on Earth's capabilities and ignored it. He gave her a look. That's vicious. No, she said calmly. It's efficient. On Threx Prime, General Grok stood before the High Tribunal. Not by request. By demand. The chamber was vast and sterile, designed to humble, but Grok looked undented. Until now. You miscalculated, spat one elder. You swore Earth would fold. They are folding, Grok growled. Just, unconventionally. Another counselor slammed a claw on the table. They've destroyed 7 of our sons. Not destroyed, Grok replied. Removed. No gravitational collapse, no radiation spikes. They vanished. A silence hung in the air like smoke. Then the youngest among them asked, How? Grok's voice dropped. They mapped our star cores. Planted phase bleed anchors years ago during diplomatic missions. Cloaked in emissions we couldn't detect. You're saying they planned this before peace was broken? Grok nodded grimly. Earth doesn't react. Earth waits. Inside Igral's Mercy, things had gotten worse. The lights in the West Wing flickered randomly. The showers turned on at 3:17 every morning. The AI began reading bedtime stories, unprompted, and always in Spanish. One morning, a guard found cell 17 completely open, with Herrera still inside. I was waiting, she said. Protocol says if I escape, you're executed. That seemed unfair. The Threx officer was too stunned to reply. She stood, wiped metal dust off her hands, and offered a small, carved spoon. Peace offering? He took it without realizing. That night, the entire ship's NAV system rerouted toward the sun. They had to cut power to prevent a suicide trajectory. No one could explain how. Eva received the report with a small smirk. She didn't even leave the cell, Leto said. And they're calling her a psychic weapon. She's just creative. She hacked a Class 5 prison ship with a spoon. Eva looked up. You know what makes humans dangerous, Leto? He waited. We don't do fair. Fair is a contract. A shared expectation. But when someone violates the rules... She leaned back. We redefine the game. Leto exhaled slowly. Do we go louder now? Not yet. Let the galaxy stare at the shadows a bit longer. Fear tastes better when it simmers. That fear was spreading. In the outer systems, whispers grew of ghost fleets, Terran ships that appeared, transmitted coordinates in old Earth music, then vanished. Planets began shutting down their own starports, fearing infiltration. Civilian vessels were grounded. Economies crumbled, not by force, but by rumor. In one remote station, an alien child refused to sleep near a window because the humans live in the stars now. The panic wasn't about war anymore. It was about not knowing how Earth was winning. Grok watched the reports pile up. Disappearing stars. Nonlinear assaults. Enemy agents surrendering only to reveal nothing. One message caught his eye. A desperate Threx captain, intercepted and extracted by Earth forces. The transcript read, "They didn't interrogate me. They gave me water. A blanket. They let me rest. And then they explained the math, how our stars would collapse over time if we didn't stand down. Then they smiled. Like they pitied us. Like we weren't even worth their anger." Groke stared at the screen. His claws trembled. "What are they?" His aide whispered behind him. "The end." Back aboard Indignant, Eva watched another sun blink out. No ceremony. No broadcast. Just nothing. She leaned forward, voice soft. "They started this thinking humans were unpredictable. Dangerous, sure. But erratic." She turned to Leto. "They forgot we have patterns. We just don't explain them." He nodded slowly. "What now?" "Now?" Eva smiled. "Now we start talking." The galaxy didn't end with an explosion. It ended with silence. Not a sudden, spectacular implosion. No screaming novas or crackling death rays. Just systems, one after another, going dim, like someone flipping switches across the void. And Earth didn't say a word. No broadcast. No victory speech. No demand. They simply stopped answering calls. General Groke stood alone in the war dome of Threx Prime. What remained of the council had long since scattered. Some fled to fringe colonies. Some resigned, publicly or by vaporization. Others sat in bunkers, staring at the ceiling, waiting for the sun above their heads to vanish. Outside the dome, a thick gray ash rained down, not from bombs, but from the power grids failing. Atmospheric regulators had gone dark. Civilian infrastructure collapsed under the weight of its own fear. Groke watched the skies. Every now and then, he thought he saw flickers, shadows sliding between stars, as if someone were rearranging them. They had wanted a war. And Earth had simply updated the rules. The TSV Indignant hovered just beyond the rim of the Threx system, masked by folded light cloaking. Eva Riker stood at the viewing deck, expression unreadable, hands behind her back. "All systems confirmed," Commander Leto said. "Obsidian Reach has full control of the outer sectors. Starlocks active. They can't jump. Can't flee." Eva nodded. "Have we heard anything from Groke?" "Desperate chatter. No formal contact. They're too scared to hail us." "Good. Fear slows hands. Makes them listen." Leto hesitated. "Do we give them the message?" "Yes," Eva said quietly. "It's time." The comms beacon lit across the remains of the Dominion. Shortwave. Old school. No encryption. No signal delay. Just a voice, calmly speaking across the stars. Eva Riker's voice. "To the remaining commanders of the Threx Dominion. This is Earth. You fired the first shot. We responded with silence. You interpreted mercy as weakness. You called us slow. Primitive. Soft. But you forgot something." She paused. Across 27 systems, entire fleets froze in orbit, listening. "Humans don't survive by being the strongest. We survive by preparing for the day we aren't. You saw our smiles and thought we were harmless. We were waiting for this." In a dark war room buried inside the administrative core of the Aquilari Alliance, an elder diplomat turned to his assistant. "They didn't build weapons to fight wars," he whispered. "They built weapons to end all wars. And they left them, sleeping." His assistant was trembling. "We should apologize. Beg." "It's too late for apologies," the elder said. "They've already moved on to consequences." Back aboard Indignant, the crew gathered around as Eva continued her broadcast. "We built Obsidian Reach not as a tool of conquest, but of remembrance. For every planet silenced. For every species erased by empires like yours. You thought we were naive. But we were watching. We learned your patterns. We mimicked your diplomacy. Then we rewrote it." Leto gave a subtle nod from the corner. Even now, her composure held. Even now, she made terror sound like hospitality. "We're not here to rule. We're not here to save you. We are here to correct you. You lit a match at the edge of a fuel tank. And you did it thinking we were the kind of species that flinched. We don't flinch. We finish. In the depths of Threx Prime, Grok listened with shaking claws. The lights above flickered. Somewhere outside, a child cried. A silence fell like a final breath. And then, the stars above his world began to fade, first the smallest, then the ones long relied upon to guide their fleets. One after another, the Dominion's central starfield dimmed. Not because Earth destroyed them. Because Earth made it look like they had never existed. Meanwhile, on a silent research station orbiting a dying star, a lone human scientist typed the final line of a code sequence. Project Obsidian termination countdown paused. He looked up. The child beside him, a rescued Threx juvenile, blinked with wide eyes. Will you destroy us too? The child asked. The human handed him a ration bar. No. You're just a kid. But my people declared war. He shrugged. You didn't. A beat. What happens now? The scientist looked out the viewport at the dimming star. Now? We wait. We see if your people learn from this. If they don't. He tapped the glass. We turn the stars back off. Eva Riker closed the channel. The crew of Indignant waited. No one spoke. The silence was intense. It was final. Leto stepped forward. Was it revenge? She looked at him. No. It was a reminder. A reminder of what? Eva's voice softened, gaze drifting to the infinite dark. That Earth may be quiet. But when you wake us, we don't scream. We erase.